Hi everyone, welcome back to Calculus with Jackie and Shadow. Today we're going to be talking about finding limits from a graph. So let's get started. So we have a function f of x, and let's say that Jackie and Shadow are both flying along the same graph, and they're going to get together at the top of this tree right here at the origin, right at x equals 0. Now, what height of tree are they going to be approaching? Well, you start moving them towards each other, get closer and closer, and move Shadow in, and he's getting near x equals 0, y is getting closer to 4. So, Shadow's going to be approaching y equals 4. Now, what about Jackie? Jackie's going to fly in from this side and get really close to y equals 4 as well. So they both hit y equals 4. Now, what I just do here, it's called a two-sided limit. You want to take the limit from both sides to make sure it approaches the same value. And each one individually, like Jackie or Shadow, would be the one-sided limit. So with one-sided limits, so let's say that x is approaching 1, and you want to find the limit of f of x. X approaches 1 from the right, that's what the plus sign is for. And then our limit from the left, x approaches 1 with a minus sign, that's x approaches 1 from the left. So you can think of from the left as like what happened with Shadow, like coming in from the negative side, and Jackie is coming in from the positive side. Now let's look at another example. We have this function, and we want to know what happens near x equals 2. So the limit from the right, that's going to be Jackie flies up there and gets really close to y equals 1. And then Shadow also flies up there, gets really close to y equals 1 as well. So we could say the limit equals 1. Now you'll notice that it has this extra point up here. So the f of 2 is actually going to be 2. But the limit as x approaches 2 is going to be 1. So they can have different values. And let's look at another example here. So on the AP test, they might ask you to find limits from a graph and have a graph that's kind of complicated. So let's try this example. On the graph of f of x below, find the limits of f of x as x approaches 5, 3, and 1, and then find f of 5, f of 3, and f of 1. So we're going to use our method from earlier with Jackie and Shadow coming in from opposite directions. So let's start with, let's start with what we know. So f of 5, we can see the dot, that's going to be 2. And f of 3, that dot right there is going to be 3. F of 1 is just an open circle, so that's going to be undefined. Now let's talk about the limits. So in f of 5, as you approach f of 5, Jackie is going to be flying in from the right and Shadow from the left, and you can see that they're both going to end up around 3. So from the right and from the left, it's both approaching 3. So we can say that that limit is equal to 3. Now, the limit of f of x as x approaches 3, Jackie's going to be flying from the right, going down, down, approaching 0. But then Shadow's going to be flying in from there. But he's not going to go to 0. He's approaching 1. So the left and the right don't match. And that means the limit does not exist. And with this one, they're both approaching the same. Shadow from the left, Jackie from the right, both getting really close to 3. So this is what it's going to look like in the end. If you write it in limit notation, you see that this one equals 3. Right and the left limits both match. They equal 3, so the whole limit equals 3. But f of 5 is 2. It has a different value. With this one, the limit doesn't exist because from the right, it's approaching 0. From the left, it's approaching 1. F of 3 is defined. It equals 3. Now, for f of 1 is going to be undefined. But the limit from the right is 3. The limit from the left is 3. So the whole limit is going to be 3. It's going to approach 3. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time.